it's allowing me to pick and choose which discs matter. Which disc is consistently going to hit the gap, because also this football field, it's got the hash marks, the left and right side hash marks. So I can just pretend that that's the gap that I have to hit. And if I'm staying in that gap, hitting that distance, I know, okay, this is a disc I can hit a gap and hit 300. At that intermediate rec division, you are guaranteeing yourself to finish even, which if you're finishing even, you're probably going to be inside the top 25% just to start, if not higher than that.
It's a lot tougher to be able to throw 400 plus than it is to improve your circle one putting. It doesn't matter if you can make that 30-footer putt. If you can't get there and get the birdies, you're not going to win those tournaments.
You might have to take a couple steps back, but in the end, don't let those 5 bad shots, those 10 bad shots, not let you improve. Welcome in, everyone, to the Clankers Disc Golf Podcast. I'm your host, Quentin Ferris, here, joined as always by Horatio Gonzalez. And if you are looking to take your field work to the next level, this is going to be a great show for you guys. Today, we're going to be talking field work, giving you guys some tips and tricks that we've been doing out in the field, and just overall mindset you have to have when you're out in the field. I made a post on Instagram on Friday. I'm talking a little bit about field work, and it got some good reaction. So I wanted to continue to explore that topic because I really do have some strong feelings about field work and disc golf in general. So we're going to be talking about that today. We also have a hot take / debate on this show. We haven't done a full debate episode in a while, so I thought it was kind of fun to maybe just sprinkle a little one in here. So you're going to want to make sure you stay tuned for that. Would you rather be able to throw 400 feet with no effort, or would you rather be able to make every putt inside of 30 feet? It's going to be a great discussion. Make sure you stay tuned for that. Let's bring in our co-host, Horatio. How are we doing today, man?
A little bit under the weather. Everyone here in the household is sick, so that's unfortunate. I hope you guys are staying well. I know everyone at my job is pretty much getting sick. It's like just getting around everywhere. So hopefully we can just get through it and get it over with and be done with it. Because yeah, it kind of sucks. I know you were sick a couple of weeks ago, right?
Yeah, I was sick around Christmas time. That was tough. And then I got back into the office, and then we were there for 3 days, and then like 3 or 4 people tested positive for the Rona, and then we all had to go back home. So I feel like I haven't been in the office in over a month. So that has not been the most exciting thing for me personally. You guys are sick. Both my parents are sick. I even think your wife, my fiance's mom and stepdad are sick. Everyone's sick nowadays. So get over it, get healthy, get back out there. There's nothing that cures a sickness like just getting out there and clanking some chains. I don't know about you, but when I was sick, I was like, man, I just want to be able to go back out there, breathe some fresh air, get out in nature again. I don't know. That always feels good to me when I feel stuck at home all the time.
Yeah, I definitely missed that. I know we're talking about maybe going and playing today. It's supposed to warm up a little bit, but yeah, just getting out, getting some sun, getting moving. I'll probably be throwing like trash, but hey, as long as I can get out there and just get some throws in, stay loose. Because I know last time when I went like 3 weeks without playing, going out to play, like I just felt super stiff and just kind of not great. So I kind of want to get a little bit at least for sure, and just get out and walk.
Yeah. True. I don't know what the chemical is that you get from the sun. Is that vitamin D?
Vitamin D. Yeah.
I love that thing. Vitamin D really keeps me going. I don't know, especially like this last week it was, and I'm going to sound like a little baby. I understand there is snow and it's cold in a lot of parts of the US and across the world, but it was so cold on like Wednesday through Thursday, because last weekend and Monday, Tuesday, it was hovering around the 50s or even high 40s, maybe 30s, but it was so sunny outside that you put some pants on and a hoodie and you were cool. But then, man, Wednesday and Thursday hit, and it literally felt like -3 the whole time. And it was just brutal to go outside. So I think that cold front's starting to actually go away, and it's pretty sunny out today. So even if it's like 35, it'll still feel better than what it has been the last couple of days. So yeah, super excited to get out. I was able to take off last Monday, Martin Luther King Day, and I was able to get out, go to the field, get some good work in, as well as go and play around with my buddies. Almost ran into Logan Harpool, and I lost my sunglasses again. So this is now a trend I have of taking my sunglasses with me when it's starting to get dark, because I need them when I get to the round, and by like hole 9, I lose them. and they're nowhere to be seen. And I literally lost the same pair within 3 months, and now I have no sunglasses.
You do like when you're playing, you do something. I think when you putt, you like take them off or something, and like you put them on your
Yeah.
cart,
Yes,
and
that's
then I
literally
think
what
they
it has
just
been twice. I put
yeah
them on the top of my cart because I don't want them to get squished in the pocket. And then I don't know how, but I literally just start walking without them.
um
So if there's any bag sponsors out there who are looking for somebody to switch over from the cart, hit me up because I can keep my sunnies safe. That is something that all of a sudden is becoming very important to me.
you need some of those old man like the little
Uh-huh.
strings that
Oh
you put the
yeah.
glasses on.
Oh yeah, I would rock that. That would look good. Let me know. Have you guys ever lost your sunglasses, your keys, I don't know, wallet, phone? What have you lost anything out on the discourse? If you have, let me know. I'd love to be interested. Thankfully, the only thing I have lost is my sunglasses, but I've seen plenty of posts of people like losing their like literal wallets, cell phones, keys to their
Yeah.
car or house. Like that would stress me out so much. I'm very paranoid about losing those things. So
Have you used that jockey thing?
I guess today would be a good day to try and use it. I tried to use it one day over at Millbrook and it didn't do anything. Like it played music, but like on UDisc it didn't like say anything to me. Maybe I just wasn't using it correctly. So I'm gonna try to use that again because I think it could be a pretty fun and pretty helpful also. That would have been really good when we went to the new. They just put a new course in. Well, they've been working on this course for quite a while, but they just put new baskets. It's looking pretty put together at this point. I went to go play it this week, and it would have been very helpful to have that. So maybe I'll
Yeah.
bust it out today.
Yeah, so that's what I got Quentin for Christmas was a disc jockey thing from Bushnell. So he wants to become, the old man with the sunglasses hanging, the classic rock playing,
Oh yeah,
and just only playing with two discs. He's just gonna get
literally
rid of his cart.
my S Line DD3, my Enigmas, and my PA3s. That's all I need.
Yeah, I don't think he's gonna start smoking. He might not
Nah,
go that far, but
I'll just have a bush
got
light with me.
a bush light, yeah.
And we played this tournament with this guy who used literally like one disc the entire tournament and destroyed both of us by like 10 strokes. And I was like, dude, come on, it's disc golf. You don't need one disc for everything. And now I'm like, nah, maybe Joel Freeman was right. Maybe I do need to get rid of all the discs in my bag. And so that's also been something that I've been going to the field and kind of like really determining, hey, which discs do I want to keep in my bag and which discs do I not really need in my bag? Which ones can I kind of double up on the molds and stuff?
Yeah, it's like which ones am I least crappy with? Okay, those are the ones. I think those are the ones that people end up throwing the most. It's like the ones that are predictable for them
Mm-hmm.
and they don't suck as much with. The other discs, they're not bad discs, but people just don't know how to throw them. So
Mm-hmm.
they like don't throw them. So it's more of like I feel like it's like a skill thing. It's like I don't like that disc, like because people don't know how to use them. But
Yeah.
yeah, I need to go through all my extra discs and stuff. I know there's a swap meet coming up, so I might actually put together some, and not necessarily to go make money or anything, but just to go sell some discs so I can go buy more of the ones that I actually want and throw. That way I can just get rid of some of the extra ones I have.
Yeah, no, that's a really good idea, especially if you've got just a bunch of discs lying around. Like you might as well do something with them if you're never going to use them and get more discs that you actually do want to throw. Like I'll keep. I need to do the same thing, but thankfully, some of the discs that I haven't thrown, I've been able to kind of give to my buddies as either loaners or they're in their bags now, so that way they can kind of ease their way more into the game because disc golf, we've said this on the show also, disc golf is as expensive as you want to make it. You can make disc golf very cheap and just get the starter set or three discs from Play It Again that are all used, or you can make it as expensive as you want and you can spend $300 on a Zuka cart, or you could spend X amount on whatever. So it's one of those things where if I can kind of nurture them, keep getting them into the game, coming back and kind of give them those discs that kind of make them like the game more and more, I'm all about that. Like one of my buddies, he had been kind of like I was doing, also just turning everything over to the right, just kind of turn and burning. And I put I think it's a dynamic discs getaway in his hand. I tried to use it a little bit and I kind of liked it, but I just didn't see when I would use it over like an Onyx or something like that. And I put that in his hands and my dude was ripping with it. So I think that was a good move. So if you've got those discs and you're trying to get your friends who maybe in the past were like, you're a nerd for playing disc golf, or I'm not getting out there, and they're getting out there, maybe give them a couple of discs here and there along the way. So that way they kind of want to continue to come back. They have something new to kind of play with.
Yeah, I think that's really good. But let's get into this show. It's kind of been a long intro. Hopefully everyone's still sticking around listening to us.
It's probably just our moms at this point.
Yeah. I wish my mom listened to this. That'd be cool.
Yeah, you should send it to her. Have her rate us 5 stars on Spotify, just like all of you should rate us 5 stars on Spotify. I'm not going to talk about it for very long, but I do appreciate everyone that has done that. From the last time that we chopped it up, we had like 23, 24 people who rated us on Spotify. Now we're at 37. We're up to 4.6 stars. So you guys really are the goats out there. So please keep
except the guy that gave us a 1.
Yeah. If you gave us 1, you still haven't hit our DMs. So you got to do that so we can chop it up. We'll have you on the podcast and you can debate us live. I don't know. Who knows?
And just a reminder, guys, about this episode. You've been listening to the beginning, but if you're new, we just want to give you guys a reminder because Quentin went down some rabbit hole last week and started looking at comments and stuff on Reddit and stuff, which you're not supposed to do. That's bad. You don't do that.
I literally don't get on disc golf Reddit except for this one time that I did.
He was at home alone. His fiance was out of town. He was probably drinking, and I can just imagine him there drinking some and just like cussing at his phone probably at this guy.
It was like 2 a.m.
Yeah, just sad boy.
Yeah,
nighttime. But yeah, so there was one that we found that the guy he said he didn't like us on Reddit. He was saying he didn't like us because like, oh, it's these guys that have only been playing for 1 year telling people how to play. First of all, it's been more than 1 year now.
It's true.
And second of all, we don't tell you guys how to play. Like we're not being, like teachers. We're not saying, oh, we're better than everybody. Like this is what you guys should do. We have said we're the guinea pigs and we're trying to learn. And I feel like a lot of our listeners are in that same phase, trying to learn, trying to get better. And all we do is share what works for us, what doesn't work for us, and stuff that we see out in the field in the course that maybe we think you guys should incorporate. That's all we're doing. And if you're past that level, and if you're better than Paul Macbeth, this show is probably not going to be for you unless you like to listen to the pros that we have on every now and then, and you can take something away from them. Unless you're better than Paul Macbeth, then you shouldn't even be listening to podcasts. So
that's true. If you're better than Paul, why are you here? You can click off, maybe just like walk away. Let us keep playing in the background, but you can get out of here. And that's true. Horatio, you really do make a good point. We want to be those testers. We want to be the ones who, go through the pain points so you don't have to go through those pain points, right? I've been trying to talk to every person who has followed us on Instagram. I've tried to send you a message. From me personally, I'm not, it's not no robot. It's not a moderator. I am the one who's sending you this message, trying to connect with you, trying to build that relationship, because I consider us the disc golf for the people. You know what I'm saying? We are here to test things. We are here to talk about things. We're here to explore things, grow the sport, all those different kinds of things to help you along your journey. If I had a show like this when I got into disc golf, holy heck, I'd be so much better at disc golf. You know what I'm saying? Like that is at the end of the day, the point. We know that we aren't better than Paul Macbeth. We aren't better than Eagle McMahon, Ricky Wysocki, Simon, Kristen, Paige, all them guys and gals. We are not better than them. We will never claim to be better than them, but we will try to help you along the way and help anyone at disc golf at any point try to get a little bit better, because that is the point at the end of the day. So with that being said, let's get into the meat and potatoes for today's show. Let's talk about field work. Horatio, you just got a net. I think last time you said it was in transit. Now it has arrived. How has it been for you so far? How many have you been able to use it at all?
I've used it like once. I'm excited for it. It's got a little square thing that you can put on the front of it to help you with accuracy and stuff. It's intended for baseball players, but it's got a little white thing that attaches to the front of the net. And basically when I'm doing my putting and stuff, I try to make it into that or try to hit that little target thing. So it's helping me just with that movement keeping that muscle memory, but it's just I just haven't had time. Like it's I have it down there and I just need to I my intention is to even just get down there like 10 15 minutes a day and not I don't think it'll help me a whole ton, but it'll just help me maintain whatever skill or whatever putting I had to begin with because I feel like I'm just kind of losing that since I'm not playing as much anymore. But no, it's great. I don't if you have more space than I do, you definitely because my goal was to use it for like working on my sidearm, just that form, recording myself and just getting that motion down. I'm not going to be able to see how the disc is flying or anything like that, but I'll be able to hit that target and just work on that sidearm, get the habit down. Because a lot of my discs, they do roll over and stuff. So yeah, I mean, I think mine was like $56 or something, and it's pretty big. Especially if you have a garage or you have a big basement, it's really good. It's not noisy. That's one thing I like. I didn't like doing the basket in the basement because it was pretty noisy. But this one doesn't make that much noise. But yeah, I'm hoping to use it more.
Yeah, that's good. I don't know if this is even possible, but you could almost also like bring your basket inside and like put it behind the net, and like you have your little target or whatever that's there, and like if it lines up with the basket, then it's like, oh yeah, for sure that is going in. Or you're able to move the square or whatever. I don't even know if that's possible.
Yeah, it's like Velcro, so you can move it around.
Mm,
But the square is
that's
a good.
nice.
It's a small size, so I know if I'm hitting that square and getting it in there, I know
Mm-hmm.
like I would be hitting the pole because I'm one that when I practice or I play, I don't really. I just focus on the pole.
Mm-hmm.
I know that if I can hit close to hitting that middle pole, I have a good shot of the putt going in.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Hitting that pole, your likelihood of spitting out when you hit the pole is not very high. I have seen it quite a lot on my basket. If my basket that I have was out on the course, there would be some frustration because I cannot tell you how many times I have somehow hit the pole and bounced out, or I'll like hit it in the basket and it will like flip upside down, hit the bottom of the cage, and then bounce back out. Like if that actually happened to me in a tournament, oh, I'd be so salty. But yeah, so for me, field work lately has been going just freaking awesome. I had been playing in like this church parking lot slash field that's next to it, and it was fine for what it was. It was pretty close to home, so I didn't really have to drive that far. But there is a course on a local high school near me, and I remember when I was in high school all those years ago that we had a public track, a turf football field. Like if I could go back to there, man, I would be, if I was in that town, I would be on that field every day because I know it's open and I know nobody's going to kick me out. Where here it's a little bit different. When I was scoping it out, all the doors seemed to be locked except this one that just
Mm.
happened to look like it was locked. So am I doing something wrong? Maybe, but hopefully nobody tells me I can't be there. I don't know why I couldn't be there. I'm not destroying anything, but being on a football field literally is so helpful, as well as just a turf football field, in my opinion, is pretty nice because I know I can trust the ground play, or not necessarily the ground play, but I know like I can step and not fear that, I don't know, I'm somehow going to roll my ankle on like just the tiniest little divot. And that's obviously very possible out on the course. Yes, absolutely. But it's one of those things that when I'm trying to work on something, it's not in the back of my head of like, oh, I could really go for this and hurt myself while doing it. So that's been really nice. I also really like a football field. And even if you can find, maybe it's a middle school football field or an elementary football field, whatever it is, some kind of a field, I really think that helps if there's any kind of, I don't know, like something that will tell you what the actual distance is. Because I don't know about you guys, but there's a lot of times I'm out on the course and the T sign says one distance and I look at it and I'm like, no way. There is no
Yeah.
way that is that far. I have seen 300-foot holes that are further than a football field length away, and 300-foot holes that feel like it's half a football field away. So, like, maybe, I didn't create the T sign, no T, no shade. So, like, it is what it is. But to me, I don't feel like they're always 110% spot on. And I feel like that's maybe across the globe for everyone else. If not, let me know, but that's just how I feel. So I know I can be on the football field, and I know if I'm standing at the end zone and I hit the other end zone, that's at least 300 feet. I know if I hit, the 50-yard line, that's at least 150 feet. If I hit the back of the end zone, that's 330. If I throw back at the end zone to the other back of the end zone, that's 360. So it gives me markers where I can tell myself, hey, this disc goes this far when I do this, and I can make that consistent, repeatable. So then if I do see a hole where it's like, hey, this is 275, where, I thought, well, in this field without any markers, I think that's 275. I can throw this, and maybe I'm 40 feet long, maybe I'm 40 feet short, and I'm not giving myself an opportunity for a birdie. Where being out on that field, something that kind of gives you, hey, this is the legit distance, allows me in my head to be like, okay, if it's 250, I know I can throw this buzz pretty comfortably and it's going to get there. Okay, if it's 300, I know I can throw this Onyx pretty comfortably and it's going to get there. Okay, if I need to throw 360, I really need to power up on the disc and I need to throw the DD3 or, whatever it is. So like, I really do think that has helped me a ton, and it's helping me actually slim down my bag because it's allowing me to pick and choose which discs matter, which disc is consistently going to hit the gap, because also this football field, it's got the hash marks, the left and right side hash marks. So I can just pretend that that's the gap that I have to hit. And if I'm staying in that gap, hitting that distance, I know, okay, this is a disc I can hit a gap and hit 300. Or it's like, okay, I know this is a disc where if I want to hit 330, I'm going to have to go outside the gap because I'm going to need to get more flex on it or something like that in order to hit it. So it's just giving me so many different data points that are allowing me to pick and choose my discs more comfortably, I guess.
So talk a little bit about what you're doing out there. So when you go out there, you're just tearing up your arm and just throwing for distance and as far as you can get it every single time.
So sometimes it's really hard to not want to do that. And I think I still kind of try to do that a little bit. When I go out there, I will take all the discs in my cart and I'll start off with grabbing 10 or so either putters or maybe my two approach discs, which is I mainly will use like a ESP zone for a backhand, or they like Get Freaky Crystal Flex for a forehand. Those are kind of my two approach discs that I'll use, and I'll throw my putters, and then I'll grab my buzzes and maybe like a Malta or a Gator, or maybe both of them, and I'll try to get 10 slower discs, 10 discs that are mids or below. And so what I'm doing is my first set down there is I'm literally just stretching out, getting warm. I don't care anything about distance. I just care about releasing on time and just not hurting myself. So that's kind of my first set is, I'm just kind of warming up, kind of getting into it. My second set will kind of be the same. I'll kind of start to put a little bit more on it, kind of start to put a little more focus in. And after, that's 20 throws already that I've done, which would be the equivalent of going out and playing a course. So by the time I'm even really starting to do anything, I would have equivalated what I could have done out on the course. So from there, I'll do another two sets. So I'll do one set where I'm trying to release flat, and then one set where I'm trying to release on a hyzer. And I yes, distance is a factor because I'm trying to see kind of how far and comfortably I can get those discs, but I'm just kind of still trying to get that motion down, kind of feeling good about myself. Is my timing correct? I really think that timing is super, super duper important, that if you have bad timing, it doesn't matter what disc you have in your hand, you're not going to be able to throw it accurately or as far as you want. So really trying to get that timing down, feel good. And if you've been with us for a while, if you've been an early subscriber and listener to the podcast, I mean, probably a couple of months into really playing hard, I really hurt my hip. Out in the field, I went down there, took 10 discs, and was just going to try to throw them as hard as I possibly can without even really warming it up. Here I am with my not knowing what I was doing yet with my distance drivers, just trying to crush them on a football field. And literally my first throw, massive pop. My hip is pretty much hurt ever since then. Still gets pretty sore every now and then. And so I'm really starting to, how can I throw hard without having the fear in the back of my head that my hip is going to hurt again, my hip is going to pop, my hip is going to blow out, whatever it is, all those things. So that's also kind of been a focus. So I'm trying to learn, how can I do a good run up with some pace that gives me timing and it doesn't hurt my hip. And I know that if I have a bad throw, most of the time it's because I'm not keeping my hip engaged. It's because I'm not able to trust my hip. So those first 20-ish shots are kind of trying to get me there, trying to get me loose, feeling good, able to trust my body, able to trust what's going on. Those next two sets, I'm really trying to focus on, like I said, first 10 flat, next 10 throwing them on a hyzer, just so I can understand what is the disc doing when I'm throwing it flat. What is the disc doing when I'm throwing it on a hyzer? Can I make predictable flights? Can I repeat what I just did? I've got 4 buzzes in the bag. Can I do the same thing with 4 buzzes in a row? If yes, that gives me so much confidence. That allows me to understand and trust the discs that I'm throwing. So that's kind of something that I'm really focusing on there in the beginning. And from there, I'll do, depending on what I want to work on, I'll either do another 2 to 4 sets with either my fairways or my distance drivers. And I'll do a flat and a hyzer, 2 flats and 2 hyzers. I don't want to focus on any anhyzer right now or forehand, because I feel like I have to get the backhand down before I can really start then taking the time to develop the forehand, because I feel as though it's not worth it time wise for me to halfway do both when I can put all of my energy and effort into one, get it feeling good, and then start focusing on the other. That's just kind of how I like to operate. And so that's kind of what I'll do there. And I've been trying a lot of different things out there, because, filming yourself is very important. When you're able to film yourself, you might have gone through and been like, wow, I changed so much this time. And then you look at the video and you're like, I didn't change anything from 2 weeks ago. So I think that's been very, very helpful so far. And yeah, I guess that's kind of the routine that I'm doing out there.
And so I guess, when you're adjusting, let's say you throw a shot and it's not necessarily going how you intended it to do. Are you repeating that shot to try to see what you did wrong, or are you immediately adjusting in your next shot?
So that's a tough one. It kind of depends on what I wanted to happen. So let's say I wanted to throw a buzz to the other 40-yard lines, like 210, pretty comfortable, not really, full sending it. And I wanted it to release on a flat angle. Well, I know if it turns and burns, then I released it on an extreme anhyzer angle, and I need to not do that. I need to keep my elbow more engaged. I need to not let my body fall over. And something that I've also been working on, I watched this like training session from Paul Ulibarri like years ago, like back when the dude was still on Prodigy. And he was talking about how the follow through is so important. And it's true. If your follow through is up, you're going to get a hyzer. If your follow through is to the ground, you're going to get that anhyzer. If your follow through is flat, you're going to get that flat release. So that's something that I've really been trying to focus on, is taking that minute and looking at the videotape and being like, where was my follow through? And is that the flight that I got? And, I can indicate to the camera either, yes, this was a good throw, or, oh, this was a bad throw, or it was so. So I think it is that, okay, I just saw this shot. I felt that this was bad. Let's try to fix that one little part that I thought was bad and see what happens on the next shot. So it's kind of like
Okay.
instantly trying to fix the mistake that I felt there. And then once the set's over, look back at the tape. Yes, this was good. Yes, this was bad.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. You kind of, while you're doing it, I feel like that's really good. If you want to quickly learn how to do different lines, that is probably the easiest way. Just throwing, the same discs, whatever discs you're comfortable with, whatever discs, especially neutral ones like a Buzz, or a Hades for drivers. But if you want to do a turnover shot, yeah, like just play with that. When you're throwing, really focus on that follow through going down towards the ground below your shoulder, and play with it. Play with how far to be going down, how high. And then if you want to do hyzer, same thing. It's crazy, you'll see immediate results, and it'll up your game really quickly, because then you can start. It's a very, very easy way to add shots to your game, because all you don't have to do anything besides focus on where your follow through is going. And I feel like sometimes when we get comfortable and we're playing at the course, just playing, we forget to think about these things and we think we can do it. But if you really make it intentional to when you're throwing, okay, like I gotta focus, I gotta remember when I throw this, do my throw, but then go towards the ground, and you'll see immediately those turnover shots.
Yeah, which I think is super important, because for me, well, honestly, what I've been struggling with lately is throwing a simple hyzer. Like for me, for whatever reason, throwing a hyzer with some height to it that can actually push down the fairway has been a struggle point for me, especially because I really went through that process of just turning everything into oblivion. And so that's been something that I've really, okay, I need to finish up. I need to finish up. I need to finish up. So that way I can throw that hyzer. And so I'm able to look at that and look at myself and be like, okay, I finished high, but that only went 150 feet, maybe because I put too much height on it. I didn't push down the fairway enough. I just came straight up instead of pushing that through. So that's definitely something that I feel like the follow through is arguably so important, because you can't finish high. Your hand and arm physically cannot finish at a hyzer follow through and you throw it into the ground to the right. You know what I'm saying? You can't flip it into the ground. Like maybe you're a wizard and you've got the flippiest disc of all time and you can do that. But I really think more times than not, it is going to be so difficult for you to do that, that your follow through is going to be what happens. If you need a straight shot and you're falling off to the right and your arm is down there by the ground, it's not going to be a straight shot. It's going to go to the right. And so, and sometimes you're not going to be able to predict, early release, late release, whatever that is. But yeah, the follow through is super, super duper important. So being able to practice that follow through, I think is very critical. So for me, the follow through has kind of been that number one point of, all right, I got to get my follow through right in order to get my flights correct. After that, what I'm kind of trying to focus on is how can I get more spin, more power, more pop to my disc, right? Because naturally the disc has to spin in order for it to go further. It's the spin that keeps it up in the air. So how can I get more of that? And something that I had been struggling a lot with is getting to a point where I think my reach back is hurting me more than it was helping me, because I was going very slow and I'd get to a point where I could feel my elbow completely locked out because of how far back I was and like nothing really happening. So there wasn't really a good momentum transfer. There wasn't really a good like a whip kind of motion with my arm. It was kind of like point A, point B, point C. There was no fluidity to it. So that's kind of been something that I've worked on. And I really haven't thrown hard or with speed since I like hurt my hip all that time ago, because I'm terrified of doing it again. But what I've been trying to do is get a little bit faster and faster run up. And I don't think I'm ever going to be like the James Conrad full force, like run up, but I definitely don't think it's good for my game to walk up every single time. I think that allows in my head to think too much about everything that I need to do. And it doesn't allow me to be fluid, where I kind of have a little bit more pace to myself, a 1-2 bang. That allows me to be like, okay, when I'm here, it's all, I'm not thinking about it. It's just happening. I think in disc golf, what really can separate those from who get really, really good to those who kind of lag behind is that mental game. It's putting in the mental game. If you can control your mental game, if you're not standing on the tee thinking about 1,000 different things and you're able to just let your body take over, that will lead to success ultimately. So that's kind of been something that I've been trying to work on, is turn the brain off during the actual physical throw. Remember the couple things that you want to there, and then assess, did you check these 3 boxes? If yes, that was a good throw, let's repeat it. If no, how can we fix that?
Yeah, that's a really good point. I think some of my best shots or just good disc golf is when I'm not thinking so much about it. So that's why field work is important, because you go there, you get that muscle memory, and you make mental notes about the stuff that you need to be doing. That way, when you go out to the course, you don't have to think about that stuff. All you have to worry about is playing, thinking about your lines, because there's more added. I feel like that's the one thing about field work that benefits people is you don't have to stress or worry about trees or obstacles or other stuff. You're just solely focusing on your form. And once you transfer that over, there's an added difficulty. But if you're making a good use out of your field work, you don't have to worry as much about your form and your technique, because that's what the field work was for. And now you can focus on your disc selection and your lines.
And I think something that's super underrated about field work is the confidence it gives you. It makes you feel like a better disc golfer. It makes you feel like everything is humming and feeling good. You get to hole 1, and let's say you smack an early tree. Man, I'm going to have a bad round. or oh man, I'm already starting off with a bogey. Your mentality is already messed up. Where having that field work, you're able to feel good. Even if that happens, you're like, I know that I did everything right. Maybe it just came out a little bit too early, or maybe I was angled a little bit too much to the left. I need to just straighten out a little bit more. Or oh, yep, I remember that in my field work. I was too much of a hyzer here. I need to be more flat. And so you're able to have that confidence of being able to have seen yourself do it and be able to do it again. This new course that they're putting in is a pretty wooded course, and there's not a whole lot of wooded courses near here. And so being able to go there and just seeing the amount of trees in front of you and being like, this is the gap, you have to hit it or good luck, and turning off my brain and just letting my body hit it, just going towards it, full sending it, not thinking about it too much. Like there was one gap in Manhattan where I was at on hole 2 at Fairmount Park. If you've ever been there, the gap cannot be bigger than 10 feet. You can probably fit 2 people in there, maybe something like that. And I used to just be killing that gap, going for ace runs every single time. And then just one day I started to think about it too much and I was slowing down, and I literally could not hit that gap again. And so I'm excited to be able to go back there and be able to hit that gap with this new confidence I've gotten from field work. And it is one of those things where I really think the confidence that you get from being on the field, knowing that if I throw this enigma at this angle with this follow through, this is the result that is going to happen. I don't think you can get that anywhere other than field work. I think on the course, there's so many different variables that can come into play that does not give you that good data.
Yeah, and I would just say not everyone is going to be lucky enough, to find a nice field like you go out and practice on, or even have one available, or want to go out to a field work maybe. Some people might feel weird, just being out in a football field, people watching, you said you had some hecklers. And so, my suggestion would be is if you want to do like field work practice kind of stuff, is find the crappiest or the most unused disc golf course in your town and go play that one instead of your favorite one, the most popular, where there's a ton of people at, and you're always behind people, or there's people behind you. Find the one that people hate the most and people that don't play, even if it's short, and go to that one. And that way you can go there and do like a course field work session. I personally love, I don't do as much field work. I like practicing kind of just on the course, because it's kind of a knockout 2 birds with 1 stone, because you have the baskets, so you can be doing your practice shots and stuff, but you can also be putting. And I don't know, I know the few times I've done field work, something about just walking back and forth. But
You got any music going?
I did, but
Oh
it
man,
was
I put the
just
AirPods in and I'm in another
yeah.
world.
But if you're not gonna do that, if you're not into it, find the least popular disc golf course, go out there, and that way you can throw 6-7 shots per tee, having to worry about people being on you, or being people in front of you or whatnot. And that way you can focus on still your form and stuff, without that pressure of people being on top of you.
Yeah, I mean, that's a really good shout. You don't necessarily have to be at a football field. Even if you're on a course where there's not a whole lot of people there, maybe you're not playing for score. I think playing for score can adversely hurt your game more times than it can help your game, because you're so focused on that score that you're willing to sacrifice getting better and taking a worse score to get better. It's kind of that, sometimes you have to take a step back to take 2 steps forward in life. And so there's going to be a point, and I've told this to a couple of my friends before, there's going to be a point where you can throw, let's say you can throw 200. Let's say right now you're out there, you can throw 200 every single time like it's nothing, but that's really about where you're topping off at. If you want to be able to go higher, if you want to be able to become more accurate, you might have to change some things and go down to like 150, 175 before you can work back up to 250, 300, those kinds of things. You have to be able to take the bad to get to the good. We did a YouTube video with Cody Deal. Go check it out. It was a Rip Revenge video. It was very fun. He was also on the podcast. On his interview, he was talking about you have to embrace the suck, right? You have to embrace being bad at something in order to get better at it. You have to be vulnerable. You have to give yourself an opportunity to be bad to get good. And I really think that being in the field, even if you're doing field work on the course like Horatio was talking about, that allows you to try those new things to get better, because at the end of the day, You can always sit there and be like, I can throw 200 comfortable. I'm content with that. That's fine. But if you're not content with that, you have to change something in order to keep going higher. I'm going to butcher the quote, but they say whatever is, to be crazy or something like that is to do the same thing over and over again and expect a different outcome, right? If you do the same exact thing over and over and over and over again and you're getting the same outcome, but you're thinking something else is going to happen, yo, crazy. You ain't nothing different is gonna happen. You have to try new things. You have to be willing to adapt. You have to be coachable with yourself. You have to be honest with yourself if you want to get better. You might have to take a couple steps back, but in the end, don't let those 5 bad shots, those 10 bad shots not let you improve. I think that's very important at the end of the day.
I think you knocked it out there. I think that's really good. But I think it's time to we get this move in and time for a hot take.
Yep.
So just one more time for the listeners, tell us what that was.
So the hot take debate that we're going to be talking about today is, would you rather be able to throw 400 feet, no effort? So, let's say pick whatever disc you want. You can throw 400 feet with that disc. You don't even have to think about it. It just happens. Maybe it's not the most accurate, or maybe it is as accurate as you want, but 400, that's a distance it's going every single time you want. You can either throw 400 whenever you want, with whatever you want, or you make every putt inside of 30 feet. No questions asked. What would you rather do?
I am going to take the 400 feet without thinking about it because, once you can, if you can figure out accuracy, most holes, most courses you're going to play, if you can throw 400, most of them you're going to be able to park the basket for a birdie with 400-foot throw, and then I feel like it's a little easier to work on those putts and stuff and figure out how to putt within 30 feet once you have that 400, being able to park. But if you can't get there, it doesn't matter if you can putt. Who cares if I can make everything within 30 if it's taking me 4 shots to get there or 3 shots? You're never going to get birdies. Like, it doesn't, like 30. If you can't throw 400, let's say, in that scenario, then the max you can throw is like 300 or 250. If it's a 400-foot hole, all you can throw is 300. Okay, you're not going to throw 300 every time. So let's say your first shot is, let's just say it's 300, and that's the max. 300. You're still going to need another shot, a very accurate shot of 100 to get to that hole, and then cool, you're within 30. You're going to make that putt. That's a par. But if you can throw 400 with ease, you have a better chance of parking those baskets and attacking and getting birdies. Yeah, that's my
Yeah,
my
I
take.
see that, but I think that more times than not, yeah, sure, you can throw the 400 easy, but whatever, you apply the argument of, well, if I can throw 400 easy, I can throw 300 even easier. I think though that being inside that 30 feet, that circle one, 33 feet, being inside that circle one, knowing that the disc is going in every single time, knowing all I have to do is get within 30 feet and I'm cool. I think I would rather take that because that is automatic. I can, let's say I'm at 60 feet, right? I can run the basket and not have fear of a 25-foot comeback putt because it's going in no matter what. So I think it gives you more opportunity to attack the basket because you can get it in. It also makes your range bigger, in my opinion. If you could, let's say you do have a 350-foot hole, and let's say, yeah, sure, you can throw 400, no problem. But let's say you're 30, let's say you're 25 feet out and you miss the putt, but I'm able to get it in at 25 feet also, then I know it's going in and I got the birdie. So I know that for me, and I also think that it's that mental game of putting is probably the biggest like mental game factor out there because it's like, oh man, I just missed this putt. How am I supposed to make this putt now on this hole? You know what I'm saying? Or maybe sometimes, let's say you have a tester, or maybe it's even a 15 footer or something like that on hole one, and then you tap in the next 9 holes, and then all of a sudden you have a 30 footer. What is your confidence level like where that if you're inside that circle one 30 33 feet it's going in every single time? I think I would rather take that because I know for sure I just have to get the disc within a 30 foot radius and I am able to put it in the basket, no problem. I won't get bogeys. Where I think if you're able to throw 400, you still do run the risk of having a bogey. You know, what happens if you hit the band and you roll 20 feet away and now you have an uphill look? I know it's going in. Where the other way, maybe it doesn't go in. I think there's just a higher probability of keeping at par or below, being able to have that for sure inside circle one it's being made.
Yeah, I also think it kind of is going to depend on the player you're trying to be. If you are just someone that plays for fun and all you do is play your local courses and maybe go to league nights and stuff, where there's probably never going to be a basket that's longer than 350, maybe 400. Cool. Yeah, I think that you're going to be an amazing player, an AM player, um, making every putt in circle one. Like you'll be competitive, you'll be really good because you don't have to worry about needing to throw far. But I think if you want to be a competitive player, playing in tournaments and maybe playing an open, if you can't throw 400 at least, you're not going to be able to keep up with the top level players. I think then it's like, it doesn't matter if you can make that 30-footer putt. If you can't get there and get the birdies, you're not going to win those tournaments. You're not going to open because those guys are throwing 400 no problem and they're getting there. Okay, maybe those missing those birdie putts, but then they're making the comebackers, again, those pars. But if you can't even have the option to do that, if the max you can throw is 300 and you're signing up for a tournament where the shortest bat is 290, 310, everything else is 350 to 520 or something like that, you're going to have a much harder time and you're not going to be as competitive.
I think Kevin Jones is a prime example of somebody who wants to make it inside of 30 feet. I can't remember the exact tournament, but the one where he had like a multiple stroke lead and then goes into this kind of island hole and then took like an 8 or 9 or something like that on it because he kept going back and forth, out of bounds, not out of bounds, 25, 30
Yeah.
feet away. You know what I'm talking about? I think that's a prime situation of, if I know I'm in the circle, it's good. It takes away fear. I mean, think of every single death putt that you could or maybe could have to face. You know, let's say there's water behind you. If you miss, you're going OB in the drink. Even if you're 15 feet away, maybe you're shaking in your boots a little bit. Where I know if I'm circle one, it's going in no matter what. Just toss that sucker
Yeah,
up.
but the reason he's there and like competing with those other guys and maybe in the fight for the win is because he can throw 400 at least. If he couldn't throw 400, like he wouldn't even be there. Like who cares? Like taking, let's say there's an M player, someone that's in rec that they practice putting 5, 6 times a week and they drill 300 putts a day and they are a deadly putter, but they can't drive. Like they can't throw farther than 300. It doesn't matter. Like you're
Well, yeah, it
never
doesn't
going
matter
to
if you're
win
trying to be on
tournaments.
the pro tour. But if
Just
you're playing
tournaments
in
in
your
general.
division, nah, no, no way, no way. If you're, I think tournaments, it matters even more. Like if you and I right now, if we sign up for a rec tournament, I think that most of the baskets are going to be 350 and in, maybe a couple that are longer. It just depends on the course, I guess. But I think that the separator, especially at that division, is the putting because you can be 15 feet away and miss easily. Where if you're inside of that and you know you're making it every time, you just have to get there. Because if you can take a par, if you can par and get 5 or 6 birdies, you win every single time. If you know there's no risk of you getting a bogey, you can win. And I think not missing your putts, it gives you a higher probability of that W or a podium or whatever.
Yeah, I guess I've just played with both people. Some people who are really good at putting and people who drive really well, like can throw really far. And like everybody wants to be able to throw farther. I feel like it's harder to do that than it is to improve your putting. I feel like it's not everybody, you can practice and practice and practice. But if you can't figure it out and even if you practice a ton and do change your form and stuff, it's a lot tougher to be able to throw 400 plus than it is to improve your circle one putting.
So here's a good one for you, I guess. And I know I said, well, let's not talk about the pro tour. I'm going to bring this back one more time. Garrett Gurthie and Drew Gibson have been two guys who can absolutely bomb, but have not been known as the greatest putters of all time, right? The difference, I believe, is if they putted at a percentage like Paul, Eagle, Ricky do, they probably win every single tournament because they can throw as far as them, if not farther, but the putts are now going in, so they're getting more birdies.
Yeah, but that's not what we're talking about. Those guys are outliers. Drew Gibson and Garrett Gerthy are known for throwing bombers. We're talking about 600, 700 foot. We're talking about 400 foot.
Okay.
And on the pro tour, they are the best players are well rounded. 400 to them is easy. So like I feel like that's not a good example because 400 is not that very far for pro players. And the well rounded ones, they are deadly in circle one, and they don't even think about throwing 400. So I don't think that that's a good argument. We're talking more about like your local
Okay.
intermediate. I feel like intermediate guys should be able to throw 400, but not many of them can. There's probably going to be the top, five, maybe 5, 10 in a tournament of like, let's say 30. Maybe the top 10 can throw consistently 400.
So I guess a question that I have is let's take Oak, right? You know Oak very well. Wichita folk, you know Oak very well, probably. There's a tournament at Oak, league night, whatever it is. Do you think the consistent winner or winners, podium, top fives, whatever, are going to be the guys with the longest arms?
Yeah, because you have to get birdies. If you can't throw, because we didn't say what the circle one putter that's making everything. We didn't say like what max distance they're throwing. What are they throwing, like 250?
No,
Because I
I
feel
don't
like
know. I don't know. It's
eh,
it's however far you can throw.
if you make it to someone, if you're saying that someone that can throw 400 isn't making everything in circle one, they're not great. Let's say 50% in circle one, which is not good. If you're taking that player, I feel like the equivalent would be someone that's making everything in circle one would be someone that can only throw 250. Like they don't have a good arm at all. My argument is that if you can at least throw 400, you're going to have more possibilities at birdies. If you can't
Okay.
throw more than 250, if you can't get to circle one, you're not going to get birdies. So at Oak, whoever wins, it's going to play under par. They're going to be 6, 7 down. The ones that can
Yes.
throw farther, because
Okay.
they're going to have more
Yes.
looks.
So I think we agree you have to get birdies in order to win. But who has a higher probability at a bogey? The person who makes everything inside circle one or the person who throws 400 feet and doesn't make everything inside of circle one? It has to be the person with 400-foot power because they know it's not automatic, where it is automatic for the other guy or gal. So I think that you can guarantee yourself at that intermediate rec division, you are guaranteeing yourself to finish even, which if you're finishing even, you're probably going to be inside the top 25% just to start, if not higher than that. So then if you sprinkle in 3 birdies, 4 birdies, you're probably inside the top 5 to 10% there. Maybe you get a fifth or sixth, and you're probably competing for W's. So, like, it's one of those things where I think that there's a higher probability of you getting those top 25% finishes, getting those podiums, getting those wins by knowing there's nothing that you have to do on the green because it's going in. How many times have you missed a putt and then you've carried that carnage onto your next drive? You know what I'm saying? How many times that mental hit to your confidence because you missed a putt? Now you're on your next drive. Oh, now that drive isn't good. Now I have to do another 20-foot putt and I just missed this one. Now I missed that again. And the ball just keeps rolling and rolling and rolling.
And like, I guess that course, Oak, yeah, that's a good argument. But, we talk about a different course, let's say Clap,
Okay.
where everything is like 350 plus, is a lot farther. You ain't going to have fun if all you can throw is 250. You're going to have a rough time. Like, cool, you're getting pars. Like, okay, that's cool. But like, it's not competitive.
Par golf is winning golf.
It's not it's boring. Like in a tournament, yes, in a tournament, but most tournaments, they're not going to be as easy as, just a course where everything is at shorts. A lot of tournaments, they set them up to where they're at longs. And yeah, par golf and a tournament is fun. But if you're playing for fun, just playing, going out to play, getting pars is boring. Like that's not what you're out there to do. Out there
I,
for them birds.
yes, I'm looking up how far. So you have one, two, three, four, five, six, 7 holes that are under 300. So if you get all 7 of those within 30 feet, you are 7 down, guaranteed.
You said under 300, and so we're saying that the max that person can throw is 250. Okay, so you have to go 250, and then you have to get your second shot within circle, which is not that hard from 250 if they're under 300. But
But all of those, you would be
you're not going to get
fine.
birdies.
You would be fine because you've got 270. If you're at 250, that's 20 feet. You're cool.
Mm.
227, you're cool. 224, you're cool. 280, you're cool. 250, you're cool. 271, you're cool. 280, you're cool. You're cool everywhere. So that's seven
Okay,
down, guaranteed.
so that's still a course that where it's short. I'm trying to different scenario where
No,
there's
it's
not a hole
not
that's
though.
shorter.
It's not though because everything else is three. The next shortest hole after that is 334. And then everything else is like 350 and up. There's a 703, a 447, 601. Like that's a big course. There's 7 holes that if you know you can make it inside the circle one, bang, you are 7 down. You win every single time.
Okay, so what about a course where there's not a single hole that's less than 330?
Then if you only throw 250, listen to the beginning of this episode, go do some field work, and let's get that up so you can be more competitive. But
Yeah.
then also it's one of those things where if you're in that rec intermediate division, not everyone's bombing 400 feet. I know in this scenario we're saying you can, but not everyone's doing that, right? So if you throw 250 and the general field throws 250 to 300, something like that, then they're all taking the same score as you, but they might take a bogey or two along the way, and you're able to pick up maybe one birdie, or you're able to take a par throughout. You still win at the end of the day. And I don't know about you. I'll take the W's any day of the week.
I guess, yeah, my thing is that you're more limited to your like your possibilities of competing. I don't think that someone that makes, you're 100% from circle one and all you can throw is 250. I don't think that you could ever play in a division higher than intermediate. Maybe advanced. You could probably play in advanced, but I don't think that you would be in the top 5 every time because it doesn't matter. Like if you can't throw more than 250, it doesn't matter if you're a perfect putter. You're not going to be competing. Cool. You're not getting any bogeys. Good for you. You're making every putt. Good for you. But you're not going to be winning. You're never going to be able to be higher than advanced intermediate. As to where if you can throw 400 and you're a okay putter, let's say even 60, 70%, you have you're not going to be a rec player. If you're throwing 400, you are not a rec player. Even if your putting sucks, you should not be playing in rec. You're at least playing intermediate, but if you're a decent putter, you're competitive in advance. You're probably playing an open if you're a good putter.
I think, though, at the end of the day, like, even with the last statement you just said, if you're a good putter, like disc golf at
A
the end,
decent putter,
you,
60%.
you have to get the bat. Yes, you have to be a good putter in order to score. You have to get
Would
the
you,
disc in the basket to score.
so you're
Locking that
saying
down.
that you would rather a person that can only throw two and you can't improve anymore. This is where you plateau. You can't
Okay.
improve. You would rather be a player that can only throw 250, but you make every circle one putt.
I think I'm happy with that. I
250 is not
I
250
work
is
on
not that far.
I work on my game and I make it to where my approach is there every single time. You build around your strength. Not everyone, you know what I'm saying? You build around your strength. If your strength is putting, put yourself in a position to where you're parring every single time.
You're never gonna birdie anything shorter than 300 or than 270,
280.
280.
And that's not true. You know, what happens if you throw it in from 60 feet out? What happens if you make those circle two
That
putts?
that's what it is. Now we're getting into
No.
the
If
weeds.
you can say you can make 60 to 70% of your putts and throw 400, I can say you can make a circle two putt. No one said you can't make a circle two putt. If you can make a
Well,
circle two putt, you can still have an opportunity for those birdies, throw ins, all
okay.
that.
Yeah, well, so can the person throwing 400.
Yes, but they know that let's say I am 60 feet away. It is a sharp decline behind the basket. Even if it falls off and it's within 30 feet, it's in no matter what after that. I have no fear. I have no worry. I can just go for the basket. Where the other guy or gal is going to be like, oh, wow, if I go long, I'm probably not making the comeback, or now they have a bogey, or they leave it short and they have to walk away with a par. The same thing as you. Like, I think there's just a higher probability of you performing better by being able to make all your circle one putts.
Okay, I think next time we play, you're only to make it seem to like get a feeling, you're only allowed to throw putters. Because that's gonna be like a good about because you can't get them as far. Like you're only allowed to throw putters.
Okay, so I can only throw putters and you can throw whatever you want. We'll see who wins.
Yeah.
Okay, so that means then I'm going to step out everything, and everything within 30, I'm not even going to take the putt. I'm just counting.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do this. Let's make this a YouTube video.
Because yeah, I would much rather have the option in my bag to throw 400 and to not have to fight, but at least have the opportunity for those birdie looks more often than not.
Yeah. I think there's pros and cons to both sides. I think we've got a fun YouTube video that can and probably should be in the works. Let us know in the comments below if you're watching on YouTube right now. What do you think? Whose side are you on? Are you on my side or are you on Horatio's side? If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, we always appreciate those ratings and reviews. They're very, very clutch and they help us so much. And we would love to hear from you on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all at the Chain Clankers. Let us know, what are your thoughts on this hot take? What would you rather do? I know I put a poll up on Instagram and a lot of you were on the putting side. I'd like to hear more of why you were on the putting side. If you weren't on the putting side, we would obviously love to hear from you as well. I think that's going to wrap it up this week. We look forward to next week. Thank you guys so much for stopping by, and we'll talk to you guys later. Thank you for listening to the Chain Clankers podcast. Make sure you follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Chain Clankers and hit that subscribe button wherever you're listening to us from so you never miss another episode.